This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 556.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have no WordCamps, sad as that is, next weekend. So take the weekend off, chill, learn something new, do a new hobby. Just, you know what? Get away from the computer next weekend. All right, moving on, segment one in the news. A couple of things to talk about here. First and foremost, HeroPress turns 10 years old. Yeah, HeroPress, launched by Topher DeRoja, who I know really well, super cool guy, has turned 10. It's born from the idea that it amplifies the voices of those who've overcome significant changes. So yeah, check that out over at HeroPress.com. Congratulations to Topher on that project. Also in the news, Jetpack has patched a critical security flaw with version 13.9.1. It actually was a vulnerability in the contact form that has been present since 2016, so a long time. Anyway, if you're using Jetpack, you're going to definitely want to update that as well. And lastly in the news, WordPress 6.7 Beta 3 is out for testing. If you are one of those people who helped test it, do so, give feedback, and it's on track to be released on November the 12th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, November the 12th of 2024. So check that out. Link in the show notes about what's going on there as well with that piece, the latest beta. All right, moving on, segment two, the meat and potatoes. So a few weeks back, actually a few months ago, I believe, I was listening to another podcast while out on a run, and I heard something that stuck with me enough that I even stopped to jot it down. And what I heard was the sentence, or the three words, ABA, always be analyzing, which of course reminded me of I'll just play something for you here. In case you don't know where this is from, I'll talk about it in a second, but it reminded me of this.
A, B, C. A, always, B, B, C, closing. Always be closing. Always be closing.
Yeah, so that's from Glengarry Glen Ross. And if you're not aware of that movie, you should definitely check it out. It's quite the movie. That was Alec Baldwin. Anyway, so after spending the last 3 episodes on getting prepared for the upcoming holiday season, the sales season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday, this week I wanted to revisit the overall business, if you will. Because, sometimes we need to be always be analyzing and looking at potential pivots and offers and fixes on client pain points. So with that said, here are 5 areas that we, business owners of WordPress agencies and or web developers, should always be analyzing, ABA, to make sure that the business is heading in the right direction, right? And not to get too dark, because it's not a stormy day out right now, like in the movie, in that scene. I'm going to keep it light and actionable, because I want to, honestly, it's running the basics. The business is serious. Yes, we need to make money, but it doesn't always have to feel like misery or a trip to the dentist, etc. So here are the 5. First and foremost, and again, no specific order, client retention and satisfaction. Let's face it, really, finding new clients is like, trying to assemble IKEA furniture. It's doable, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt. Retaining existing clients, on the other hand, that's the comfy chair. We all want to sit there. So regularly checking in with your clients beyond just sending invoices every month. See how they're doing. Get feedback on your services. Understand their future needs. Because honestly, happy clients stick around and will refer others. Now, the action you can take here, I'm going to have action steps for each one of these. You could send out a client satisfaction survey. You can automate your check-ins, reminders with tools like Slack or email triggers. You can create case studies that highlight the successful projects of a client testimonials. Great for future sales. So there you go. Okay, client retention and satisfaction, need to get that done. Number 2, profit margins. Now, I know I like the creative work. Sometimes the little things are what kind of pushes me forward. And I'm sure a lot of people are out there just like that. But if your agency or you are spending 40 hours on a project budgeted for 20, something's got to give. And we don't want it to be your sanity. I really don't. You need to track your expenses and your estimates closely, but if you're not charging enough for your services, do your packages reflect the actual effort involved? I mean, I know it's kind of confusing, but profit margins are profit margins. And I've talked about it a lot in the past when it comes to profit first, paying yourself and whatnot. But it's time to tweak and adjust it if you're not doing this. The action here, of course, would be set up project management software like Asana or Trello. Track the hours spent on projects. You don't need to track forever necessarily, but you need to start tracking sometime, or maybe once or twice a year, like every 2 or 3 quarters, to spend some time in tracking. And then do a review of those quarterly financials, right? To see what's really working from a perspective of money making, okay? And possibly consider a tiered pricing schedule so your clients know what they're paying for and you're not losing sleep on it, okay? I do this a lot. I mean, actually, I know my profit margins pretty well. It's not that hard to figure out. I have tracked time in the past, but I don't do it consistently because it's a little stressful. It's the same thing with like tracking sleep from a training perspective. So anyway, okay, moving on. Number 3, website maintenance and upselling your services. Now, your clients' websites need love and care. That's what we call it a web care package here at Concierge at my agency. And being a WordPress agency, maintaining the services is a steady source of my income, a recurring revenue, it really is. So are you doing this? Are you consistently upselling your maintenance packages, security updates, performance optimizations, SEO, whatever it is that you could do for upsells, you should do that, okay? The action here is craft a template and, just let people know with a little bit of urgency, avoid crashes, maybe an email sequence. Create a service package that includes hosting, security monitoring, plugin updates. Again, not rocket science here. And have the maintenance contract ready to present right after launch. The clients are riding high on their new shiny website. You want to get them locked in on that sooner than later. Okay. Number 4, team efficiency and workflows. Now, if you have a team, or if it's just you and your cat, totally cool, but you need to be operating like the well-oiled machine. You really do. Are projects getting done on time? Are there bottlenecks? What's the bottleneck? Is it you? If it's you, then you got to fix that, right? If you have a small team, is the team asking, do we have a process for this? If not, it's time to really map that out and streamline things. Less guessing, more doing. Action, of course. Map out a standing operating procedure, the SOP, for repeated tasks. It becomes like the manual. That way you just know how things are done the same way each time versus asking someone for the 5th time this week, okay? With that in mind, you could also use automation software. Zapier, big fan, huge fan of Zapier. So do that as well. And then, of course, review the tools regularly. Maybe when you go back to do some looking at your quarterly time tracking, you don't need to have 5 different tools to do communications, okay? Just get rid of things that are going to be excessively taking your focus away from that, okay? And number 5, the last one here, is your sales pipeline. Now, sales can feel like a chore. But if your pipeline dries up, so does your business. Are you relying too much on referrals? Is your cold outreach not working, or is it not producing leads? Keeping the sales funnel moving is where clients come from and you get business. Obviously, this is obvious, right? So the action here is refine and review your sales funnel. What touch points are you missing, if any? If you're not using a CRM, and I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot of speaking on this in the past, if you're not using a CRM, you are missing out on following up your leads and making sales and closing sales. Currently, I'm using a CRM. I'm actually about to switch CRMs, and that might be an upcoming podcast episode and why I'm switching. But I am. So there's that. And you also want to test out some new lead generation strategies, webinars, blog content, SEO. You never know. So the goal and the main takeaway here is that I want you all to avoid the iceberg of burnouts, client dissatisfaction, financial woes, because you'd be really surprised on how fast these things can sneak up on you and affect you in not just your business aspect of your life, but your mental health as well. Because running a business is not easy. If it was, everybody would do it. So there are pros and cons to it, but I want you to have the takeaway is don't find yourself in a burnout situation. Okay, so there you go. Once again, just to kind of recap those, number 1 is client retention and satisfaction. Number 2, profit margins. Number 3, website maintenance and upselling your services. 4, team efficiency and workflow. And 5, your sales pipeline. These are things you should always be analyzing. ABA. Okay, so of course, sales is in there as well. So, okay, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This one is fun. I'll put this in the show notes. It's a snippet that you can put in functions.php or do the snippet plugin. I use it there. It adds an action to when someone uses the username admin trying to hack your site. and it sends them to YouTube Rickroll. So I just thought it was kind of fun and funny. I saw this somewhere else, and I will share the code in the show notes. You can check it out. And that's it. Okay, that's the tip and tool of the week. It's fun. So it's called the Rickroll Admin snippet. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, a few different ways. Become a Patreon, link in the show notes. You could sponsor the show. There's a form you fill out. You could also buy me a coffee. Love caffeine, can't you tell? Anyway, thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.